We're live.
All right.
We are live.
I have your tome.
You have the tome.
I have the tome.
The tome. All right.
Shall you read from the tome?
I shall
The
read
reading for today?
the reading for today. Yes. We have page 266, chapter 2. Falernum. Falernum is a traditional liqueur from Barbados. Though recipes vary, Falernum is historically rum, sugar, and lime, with the additions of Caribbean spices such as cloves, ginger, and nutmeg. Almonds are sometimes added. Rum traders in Barbados century often bottled their own Falernum alongside their rum brands. In addition to its use in planters' punches and other drinks such as the traditional corn and oil and the green swizzle, Falernum is also used in baking and other cooking. See green swizzle reference. Falernum is a key ingredient in many exotic cocktails, including historical examples from the 1930s and 1940s, such as the Three Dots and a Dash and the Test Pilot, and it's a mainstay in modern tiki bars. So saith the Oxford Companion to Spirits and Cocktails, edited by David Wondrich with Noah Rothbaum. And that concludes our reading for today. We're going to put this nice and safely over here. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We are going to be talking about Falernum. And in particular, we are going to be using the Bitter Truth's Golden Falernum this evening. And what better way to start this thing off than a toast using straight up some Falernum? Because when was the last time you tasted Falernum straight up? I don't know.
We have a Cam.
It's
we have
been
a
a while.
Cheryl. We have a David. We have a Greg who says, hello, cats and people.
Hello, cats and people.
David
Not cat
says,
people, that's different. Cats and
Right.
people, different.
neither of us are hungry tonight, so we're with you again.
Fine. We come second place to food.
Food
I
and
understand.
nutrition is important.
Food and nutrition is in fact important. You will have to bear with us again for this broadcast because my computer is acting up on me, and so there may be glitches due to that. But isn't this cool? We've got the Falernum is all lit up here for your viewing pleasure. So we do have something to toast today. The Maryland Renaissance Festival kicked off this weekend, and we were able to make it to the Renaissance Fair on its opening day. Pretty darn close to opening
Gate?
cavalcade, whatever that sort of thing is.
Yeah.
We went with friends.
We did, including
We
a
took
friend,
a
Miss
person
Elizabeth,
who had
had
never been to one before. She seemed to have a fairly good
She did.
time.
She did.
a
We
cou-
dressed her up in some old garb. She had a blast.
A couple of us bought new blades.
Yes.
Some of us bought new garb.
Yes.
Some of us
Bought new
did
hair
both.
sticks.
Did both. Hair
Some
sticks.
got new hair sticks.
Yep. And various other things. And yes, there was much fooding. There were no turkey wings or turkey legs.
No,
We-
but I
we
don't
didn't-
usually.
yeah.
We saw Jacques the Pepin.
Who I guess is blown up all over social media. I wouldn't know what that is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Although apparently last week's episode on Sandman cocktails went really, really well. Like double or triple the usual, maybe four times the usual.
views.
So, clearly I should do
Sandman.
Sandman, or, oh, what's the hottest thing on Netflix? I'll
Yeah.
do cocktails for that.
Yeah.
So what am I going to do? I'm going to do Falernum this
Yeah.
week. So if you're tuning in for more Sandman cocktails, you're getting Falernum instead. Falernum, the lost member of the unending, right?
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
the undying.
I'm dying.
Also, while we were there,
Uh-huh.
we received a text.
We did. Well, we had received a
Post-
Facebook message.
Facebook
and
posting.
our friend that was ill last week is better and is at home recovering.
Not only ill last week, was in the
It
hospital.
was in the hospital
And-
and had a fever that could not be controlled, and we were quite worried. And they are better. They are home. They are recovering. Yay. So
Chin chin.
Chin chin. And we got,
Cilantro.
we replaced our broken
We had
cotton
a
and
broken
reed
cotton and reed glass. We got that replaced. Yeah. So all in all, pretty darn good. We made it to another couple of places on the Tiki Trail.
Okay, this is interesting because I just had one of those candy orange slices.
Right. The orange.
And of course the
orange comes through here. I'm like,
from
is there orange in this? You notice in the reading that there was not orange traditionally in the Falernum. This on the image on the front shows almonds, it shows ginger, and it shows lime, and two guys, but I guess they're not probably in here, hopefully. And there are no ingredients listed, so we do not know whether or not there is orange or orange peel in there. It wouldn't necessarily surprise me, but it would surprise me a little bit. You should get a mouthfeel that is a little heavier than water or rum, your general alcohol. What does this clock in at? Probably like 11%, 11, 12%?
not really high.
18. Okay, so I was off a little bit. Yep.
How do you describe Falernum?
Sweet.
I mean, it is sort of
It's sweet up front.
between orgeat and allspice dram, in that it's got the heavier mouthfeel that orgeat has,
Okay.
but it's got more spice notes. Like
less. I mean, there's less almond in this than
right,
like
but there's
my
more mix of spices like allspice dram has. But I mean, it's nowhere near the
it's got-
baking spices
got
and everything.
A bright, tart, citrusy note
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
obviously don't get from the orgeat. Okay, that's quite tasty stuff. Not that I didn't know Falernum was a tasty thing.
Yeah.
Although I'm a little weirded out by just how orange this comes across.
Right.
So putting this in with anything else that's got like orange curacao or the like would probably just amp that up a little bit. So who knows? Whatever. This is tasty. So we're gonna have this.
Amanda corrected you. It's the endless.
Yes, the endless. They're also undying. But
She
it's
would
okay.
love more TV movie tie-ins.
TV movie tie-ins.
But
or
then
TV
watch Greg's How to Drink backlog.
True. We could just like punt that over and go, you should watch How to Drink on YouTube. And he has a huge backlog. He's been doing this for like 6 years. His first show was better than anything that I've done up to this point, probably. He's just really good and has a pretty loyal following, including obviously us. And you can see, there are times where you can see where doing the topic of the week can go off the rails with Craig, though, or like the topic of the video game. So there are many video games that feature cocktails, and Greg has done, I think, all of them, and then he's done things like, here, let me drink every hard cider on the planet and do a taste test of those. We're not doing that ever on this show. He's done matrices of cocktails. Like I think he did a matrice of, did he do margaritas or was it daiquiris?
Daiquiris.
And he did one of like old fashioned, which is subtitled "The Show That Almost Killed Me."
Yeah.
Yep. Good stuff. Go watch Greg. See what I strive for? No, I
Not
don't
right
strive.
now.
I don't watch Greg right now. Yes, that would be poor for me. I mean, great for Greg, but poor for me. Different Greg, by the way, than the one that is signed in. That's a different Greg. Anyway, I should stop talking and make a cocktail. So, old fashions are a thing, right? Old fashioned is essentially 2 ounces of your spirit mixed with somewhere between 1/4 and 1/2 ounce of some sort of sweetener. It can be just about anything, and then some dashes of bitters that complement that. And you stir that over a rock, and ta-da! There you have an old-fashioned. Or you can stir that over some cubed ice, and then pour it into a glass and serve it neat. You can do that as well. So, Falernum here is a sweet ingredient, and there is a rather famous and rather old cocktail that is based upon the old-fashioned that makes use of the Falernum in the place of the sweetener. And as long as you're going ahead and doing falernum, you might as well do rum with that. So this is essentially falernum, rum, and bitters. That's all there is to this drink, plus a little bit of ice. Actually, okay, a lot of ice. So what we're going to do here is we are going to take a rocks glass. Where's my rocks glass? Here's a small rocks glass. Ta-da. And we are going to start with our sweet ingredient. We are going to go 1/2 ounce of falernum.
The Bitter Truth Golden Falernum liqueur does not forget it is a rum liqueur. The falernum is gold in color, taste, and texture, but never one note. It is a calypso of flavor. On the nose, fresh lime, seashell, and ginger, with just a hint of Christmas.
What the heck does seashell even taste like? Seashells are calcium. No, stop using things that we don't know what tastes like.
The taste
car tire. How does anyone know what a car tire tastes like? Grr.
The taste carnivals from fresh ginger to vanilla and almond, surfing towards an atomic fireball. Allspice gives a splash of lime and a delicate hint of Bajan sweet pepper sauce-like heat. With a breadth that feels like a 2-week holiday, this falernum can perk up any aged spirits and instantly turn into a drink worthy of a laboratory tropical adornment beyond the obligatory paper umbrella.
Yeah, okay, guys, you're going way over the top here. You're using words like atomic to describe this. It's good, it's sweet, it's tart, and it has no bitterness to it. At its base, you do get those rum notes. Stop, that's enough, we're good. This drink does, in fact, because the falernum is at its origin a Barbados liqueur, and since you're making an old-fashioned, you really want something that harkens back to that bourbon or rye. So the suggestion would be to use a Barbados rum with this. And we are, in fact, going to break into the Real McCoy 14 year, which is produced by the Foursquare Distillery. This is exceptionally good stuff without being one of their exceptional casks, which are expensive, but good. And then we need 2 to 4 dashes, usually of Angostura bitters, but you can do other bitters if you would like. We have many bitters that we could choose from. And I'm thinking, what the heck? Let's get a little fancy here. We're going to go with some Cuban bitters. So sour orange, lime, cinnamon, and coriander. That seems like it would play well with this, right? So we're going to go 1, 2 dashes of that.
Bruce approves of your rum choice.
I want something a little different here. What do we got here? Is this the spiced cherry bitters? Ooh, that seems like it would be a good tasty thing here. We're just going to go with 1 dash of this. I don't want the cherry to overpower this, so that goes in there. But again,
what brands are those?
The spiced cherry bitters is Woodford Reserve. And the Cuban bitters are brought to us by our friends at El Guapo. El Guapo. And what is that? Oh, that's red wax. I'm like, what is that red stuff on my hand? I'm dying. No, I'm not. Not even going to stir this. Nope, no. What goes, we just fill up the glass with crushed ice. Like such. I know this seems really bizarre and not like how you would normally do one of these kinds of cocktails. But according to Smuggler's Cove and Martin Kate, the thing here is the Bajans drink this all the time, and the Bajans drink it this way with crushed ice. So I'm not going to argue with the people that brought us falernum and Bajan rum. So there we go. This is the corn and oil. That tastes like a rum old fashioned. That's really good. Now, the actual instructions from Martin Kate say to stir this until frost forms on the glass. So he wants a little more dilution off of this than what I got. And I do have this pretty full, which is why I'm not giving this my usual vigorous stir. But as the ice loosens up, volume goes down a little bit. There we go. Yep, there's frost on the outside of that. Cheers! Oh, it's nice and cold.
So
That is way booze forward. That is not a light tropical drink. The corn and oil is, that's an old fashioned. That is a yummy, sit back, enjoy this. I would say that would be a nice after dinner cocktail, or a bunch of guys sitting around in leather seats, shooing the women out of the room, and having cigars.
Had corn and oil before.
Hated it.
I hated it.
Hated it.
But it was at a very respectable bar.
It was.
It was. It was at Cane and Table.
Yes.
In New Orleans.
Uh-huh. And I've made them.
I might try it again.
And I've made them before.
But I may make a face.
She will make a face. Almost assuredly, she will make a face.
So for Danielle, right?
For Danielle, who may or may not be watching, but. Booze! Booze!
I am not a booze forward person.
So, this also clocks in at 46%, so it's not too awful in terms of the strength here. But this is very, very definitely, this is a booze forward. This is Manhattan, old-fashioned, and not one of those Wisconsin old-fashioned thingies. Yeah, no, this is like your true old-fashioned. It's booze, a little bit of sweetener, and some dashes of bitters. Done.
So, Christine says, David roasted a coffee the other note that was supposed to have tasting notes of corn silk tea.
Corn silk tea? I've not had corn silk tea.
I don't either. David says the tasting notes were weird, but the coffee was really good.
I reached for water. I wound up with more Falernum in my hand, so we're going to do that.
Bruce is curious to know if the tanginess of the golden Falernum plays well with aged rum and bitters.
It does.
And
it does
complements my icky face.
Yes. Well, if you like your alcohol forward, a sweetener to open up the complexity of your aged spirit, you will like the corn and oil. Star does not like those kinds of cocktails. Her tastes run to, even if you're alcohol forward, she likes the bee's knees, she likes the aviation, where there's another ingredient there, often with a flowery component or something, just to help that. The bee's knees doesn't have that, but the honey helps do that for her on that. So, yep.
And David says the face reminds me of the first Peruvian sour I let Cam taste.
The first Peruvian sour, so a pisco sour? Yeah. Yep. Okay, so what are we going to do next? Well, okay, so this is a pure, straight up. It's not even a riff on the old fashioned. I mean, it probably is kind of, because the old fashioned will predate it almost assuredly. But now we're going to try and step it up a little bit with the complexity. Now, despite the fact that you made icky face, could you pull out notes of the Falernum in there? We got that sort of lime. Still don't really pick up the almond much at all from these. But I don't get that a lot from even just drinking the golden Falernum straight. So, So the next cocktail that we're going to do is actually a blended cocktail. This cocktail is the Hawaiian Eye. And this comes to us from the late 50s, early 60s. It comes from a restaurant in New Orleans that no longer exists. No, it does not. It comes from a restaurant in Burbank that no longer exists. Sorry, getting my cocktails mixed up here. So there was a TV show that ran from 1959 to 1943 called The Hawaiian Eye. And that TV show was filmed in Burbank, And apparently the stars of that show had a habit of descending upon the China Trader restaurant in Burbank like 4 out of 5 working nights every week while they were shooting the show. And so this drink was built for them and became the drink of the show. And so we have the Hawaiian Eye, compiled by a guy named Tony Ramos, or Ramos, not any relation that I know of to the Ramos Gin Fizz. Completely different, which is probably why I was thinking New Orleans, because it's a different guy, that sort of thing. Because the Ramos Gin Fizz comes from New Orleans, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, what goes in here? We're on a theme. I'm just going to start with a ½ ounce of Falernum. So what did you find for me back there, hon?
I think I actually found simple.
You found simple. You mean this?
Is that the simple?
Nope, but it'll do.
What is it?
It's the pineapple oleo.
Oh.
That's fine.
I
It'll
can
work.
go look again.
Nope, nope,
Okay.
because that should have about the right sweet compound for it.
Okay.
All right, so there we go. We're going to go a ½ ounce of Falernum. If I really wanted to kick up the Falernum tasting of this, I would just skip the simple syrup and go with another ½ ounce of the Falernum. But I'm a little afraid that the citrus component, that orangey peel note, would just overpower this cocktail. So we're not going to do that. Normally we'd use simple syrup, but what we found back there was the pineapple oleosacrum, sacrum, different thing. Anyway, so we're going to go ½ ounce here. This is essentially a 1-to-1. And it has the flavor of pineapple in it that we get off of the husks of the pineapple. So we throw the pineapple husks in a bag with an equal weight of sugar and let the sugar work its magic and pull all the liquid out. There we go.
Okay,
Got that nice and closed.
We have corrections.
We have corrections. Oh no.
David says TV and 43, not.
59 to 63.
Okay, he heard 43.
Okay, 59 to 63. Sorry.
David tamped down the Pisco in the next one, and Cam liked that much better.
Okay.
And Greg says, a cable station here shows Hawaiian Eye late Saturday nights.
Oh my gosh. Really? Late Saturday? Wow. Okay. That's kind of amazing. All right, so there's a ½ ounce of lime juice, because you've got to have lime juice in tropical cocktails, right? So next up is, this drink calls for a ½ ounce of Hawaiian or otherwise light rum. Light rum. Well, I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to be nice, and for the light rum, we're going to use some of my precious Havana Club. Anybody that lives in Canada? So we are going to go with 1/2 ounce of the Havana Club. Now I know what you're saying. Cuba and Hawaii aren't even in the same ocean, but what we're looking for is a light column still rum. And in fact, the ingredients list that I have for this particular cocktail from Beach Bum Berry's Total Tiki says if you don't have a Hawaiian rum, go ahead and use some other light rum, whatever that might actually mean. I do in fact have some Hawaiian rums, but I don't particularly care for the Koloa Bay white rum, so we're not going to use that in this particular.
And the other Hawaiian rums we have are agricultural.
Right, all the other Hawaiian rums I have are the Kohanas and their agricoles, and I don't want to use those because that would be completely different for this cocktail. So there we go, there's a ½ ounce of the precious Havana Club, which, while a light rum, is not unaged. 3 years age on this guy. Okay, next up we need a ½ ounce of gold rum. I hate it when they do that. What do you mean by gold rum? Well, they also specify like gold Puerto Rican rum. So I could reach for Bacardi Gold, or I could reach for like the Ronde Barrilito, or I could reach for the Scrivener's, all of which are straight from Puerto Rico. But if what I'm looking for, again, is a clean column still rum of a goldish color, I can reach for other things like Florida Cana, which is not at all Puerto Rican, but is going to give me something in the same flavor profile and what the heck? I like this particular rum. We've got 1 ounce of it. I'm going perhaps a little beyond the gold category here because this is a 12-year rum. It's the Florida Cana 12-year, which is remarkably reasonable in pricing. I have to say, remarkably reasonable. Okay, next up, we are going to add about 8 ounces of ice to this. That's going to be crushed, of course. That. I'm going to add just like 2 or 3 cubes of ice. Stick this in here. Mix that around just a tad. Trying to get the cubed ice down in there. Then we're going to blend this for like 5 seconds. You have it. Now, this gives us no guidance on what mug to put it in. And so as a consequence, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach over here and we are just going to slap this into our new Mount Gay. I know it says Barbados rum on it, but what the heck, let's use it anyway. And this is just supposed to be poured unstrained in there. What do you know? Fits that mug like a champ. Excellent. Excellent. Yes, excellent. Well. Then we're going to take a drink of this, because Star won't. And then a drink of water. As that sits and gets more diluted, the falernum becomes more pronounced in the corn and oil. So I think that approbation about stir until you get frost on the outside is something to really take to heart. Oh. It is warm in here this evening. Whew. Okay, I need to stick a straw in here. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. One of those things that goes in a drink that allows you to get liquid out. Sure, we're gonna use the big one. The big one. I think this is the largest straw I have from Surfside Sips. Smooth glass gray straw. It's about the size of a. Okay, here in America, we don't use the metric system. We use a system that's called bullshit measurements when we compare things to things that should never be used as a measure. All I could think of was, you remember those tall G.I. Joes that you had as a kid back in the 70s? Yeah, this is about the size of a bow stick for one of those. So how's that for a completely arbitrary unit of measure? It's a bow stick for a G.I. Joe action figure from the 70s. There we go. Here is the Hawaiian eye. Take a sip of this. Oh, that's perfectly lovely. You have to hunt a little bit to find the falernum notes, but they're definitely there. Honestly, I think the pineapple comes in too, which is a little surprising for only a half ounce of the pineapple, and the pineapple syrup is not all that pronounced pineapple-y, but it does, there's a hint of it there. The rums, they're there. You know you're drinking a rum drink, but man, do they allow the rest of the ingredients to sing. This is a really good example of a cocktail where falernum is a standout ingredient in the cocktail. I've never had one of these before, to the best of my knowledge. This is quite tasty. Star, I think you will like this. And there's not a whole lot of difference here, right, between this one and that one. There's some lime juice and a little more syrup to it. And there you go. Give that a swig, my dear. My beloved sweetheart.
That is much more my type of drink.
Yep. So we can all say goodbye now to the Hawaiian eye because it's going to go away and I will not see it anymore. Now, the falernum in there. Falernum is more pronounced or less pronounced than in the corn and oil? Hon?
A little less pronounced.
You think?
I think.
Okay. I can see that. Yeah, because the spicy notes of the Falernum are kind of tamped down in the Hawaiian eye. I think you could have gone with a full ounce of the Falernum there and probably been okay. It would be a very different, well, it wouldn't be a very different drink, but it'd be somewhat different. We'd replace all those little pineapple notes that we have in there with more of that clovey citrus peel flavor. I really get the Falernum notes on the finish on the corn and oil, because right now I have that, I just took a tiny sip of that, and I've got that, I don't know, that astringent mouthfeel that you get from like chewing on a citrus rind or peel, not the pith, but the peel. You know, that kind of, yeah, okay, what is that flavor? That flavor when you gnaw on a rind. I don't know, but it's there. And that does not come through on the Hawaiian eye. So that's interesting. All right, that's kind of cool. That's cool. So what else can we do with Falernum? Now I'm sticking to cocktails here that all have a relatively high percentage of Falernum in them. When I was reading from the Oxford Companion of Spirits and Cocktails, it mentions drinks like 3 Dots and a Dash, and what was the other one that it mentioned? 3 Dots and a Dash, and I can't remember what the other major drink was, but those drinks use the Falernum in very small amounts, like a 1/4 ounce, or they use it in a 1/2 ounce measure, but there's so many other ingredients in the cocktail that the Falernum is just there as an accent point. Whereas I'm trying to keep this to drinks where the Falernum is going to be a little more pronounced. And that brings us to our third drink. So our third drink, again, is very, very simple. So we're going to have 2 ounces of light rum. We're going to have 1 ounce of lime and half ounce of lime and 1/2 ounce of Falernum. So that really sounds kind of daiquiri-like in its fixings there. The trick here is that it adds an herbal component with Benedictine. So we're going to toss in a little Benedictine, and we're going to come up with a drink called the Voyager. And yes, the Voyager's name, so this is a current drink. This, I think, first hit publication in like the mid-2000s to like 2010, somewhere along those lines. I know it shows up in one of Beach Bum Berry's books in 2010, so it existed prior to that. And the creator, who I'm sorry his name escapes me and I do not have it written on my board, he is credited in the Total Tiki app. But he wanted to have a name that evoked that sense of going on vacation. So he went with Voyager as the name. And as he says, the fact that he's a great big Star Trek nerd didn't hurt as well in terms of naming it Voyager. So, of course...
Robert Hess,
thank you. So, of course, a drink that it has a name that harkens back to science fiction and fantasy is a drink that I want to have made for me. So I'm going to go ahead and do the Voyager. Again, very simple drink. Falernum, lime, Benedictine, rum, a couple of dashes of bitters. There you go. Not one of these 11 ingredient tiki cocktails. But we're going to do this in a different way. We did, the first drink was stirred in the glass. First drink was stirred in the glass. Second drink blended. Third drink we're going to use cubes and we're going to shake it. So here we go. The Voyager. Start there. 1/2 ounce Falernum. And yes, I am starting with the sweet ingredient, even though this isn't one of those cloyingly sweet, stick to the sides of the jigger kind of drink, or kind of ingredient. It is a little thicker in mouthfeel, a little heavier viscosity, but it's really not going to stick in the jigger. So I could play around with the order in which I put these together. But I am going to go with my standard 1/2 ounce of lime. 1/2 ounce of lime. 1/2 ounce of Falernum. Right there. Then we need a 1/2 ounce of Benedictine. Benedictine. Dun dun dun. Dom Benedictine 1510 by the Benedictine monks. A closely guarded secret on what the recipe is for this but in some ways it reminds us of chartreuse in that regard, right? The Chartreusian monks, or the Benedictine monks, they're putting together this liqueur that's largely herbal based that has gone on to sell like busters, and be used in cocktails everywhere. Half ounce Benedictine. Half ounce Benedictine. Then we need 2 ounces of a light rum. What am I going to do for a light rum? Okay, for this one, I'm not going to reach for the last remaining dregs of my beloved 3-year Cuban rum. I am going to reach for something else that I use a lot here, and that's the Plantation 3-Star right here. I forgot how full this bottle was because I'm used to this bottle being mostly empty. We're going to go 2 ounces. Full 2 ounces white rum. And then it says 2 dashes Angostura bitters. We could do Angostura. Or we could do something else. El Guapo? Do we want to go back to El Guapo? Do we want to use 1821? We've got 1821's tart cherry and saffron. 1821's Havana and Hyde. So we got a little leather notes to this. I don't know, does leather play well with the herbal component though? Probably not. But we could reach for El Guapo's Polynesian Kiss. Yep. So this is guava, passion fruit, pineapple, and coconut. Yeah, sure, we'll do that. We're gonna go 2 dashes here. 1, 2. And normally you would just use 2 dashes of Angostura for this particular cocktail. I'm playing around by using the Polynesian Kiss, and I am going to go back and do 1 dash of Angostura right there. All right, so we've got a few more bitter, a little higher proportion of bitters in this one, but not too bad. Okay, then we go cubed ice. Okay, I don't actually have cubed ice. I have this kind of weird half-moon shaped ice.
Standard ice maker.
Standard ice maker ice. Lest you think I'm going above board and producing completely clear ice every week to put in these cocktails. Nope, I'm, especially for just shaking, yeah, these things work just fine. All right, here we go. Okay, this says that we are to strain this into an old-fashioned glass. All right. Sure. What do we got here? What's down here? Reach for the Mai Tai glasses. Sure, why not? Let's use an archipelago glass. Sounds like a plan to me. How about you? Archipelago?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a ticket. Yeah. That seems to work pretty well. That goes here. Ta-da! And we can garnish this with a lime wheel or a lime wedge. And I'm going to go ahead and go with a lime wedge here. Why? Because, well, I have lime wedges right here. So there's a lime wedge. And there you have it. This is the Voyager cocktail. So Falernum, lime, Benedictine, 2 ounces of a light rum, and some dashes of bitters. So we're still not getting particularly adventurous with the rums. The rums are pretty light, allowing the Benedictine to come through. We've got this weird ingredient, the Benedictine, added to this, sitting on top of the Falernum. We'll find out how well that works. Yeah, this is very daiquiri-esque. the lime really comes through on that. I think the lime is accented by the Benedictine, honestly.
Okay, maybe I'm overwhelmed by the incense.
Yeah, that could be.
And step back here.
You're going to be overwhelmed. Here's the corn and oil. So we don't have the face, but we do have a meh, meh. So how about the Falernum in that? Are you pulling the Falernum out? Can you get the Falernum?
I can pick every single thing out of here.
Okay, and you would want to. You want to separate them all and drink something else.
Yeah, no, I mean, it doesn't...
It doesn't blend?
It doesn't blend. It doesn't... Each taste
maybe it
is
needs
individual.
maybe it needs to sit.
Maybe it needs to sit.
We could do that. Let it
Okay.
sit.
We did get 2 more stops on the Tiki Trail done.
Yes. So previously we had stopped at Tiki on 18th.
Right.
And then we had stopped at... Not that place.
Last call.
Last call?
Last call. Because then we went to Cotton and Reed.
Uh-huh. And then the second time around, we went to McClellan's Retreat.
McClellan's Retreat.
McClellan's Retreat.
Yeah.
McClellan's
Retreat. Mm-hmm. And then we went to Bar Charlie.
That's right. We went to Bar Charlie.
Right.
That's what I was thinking. Because we did 3 on that one
Right.
day, but one of them's not on the Tiki Trail. It's Cotton and Reed.
Right.
Right. Where I had a
No, we did
Queen
one,
of the Dunderworld.
and then we did 1 plus Cotton and Reed.
Mm-hmm.
And then we did 2.
So we've done 3 nights on the Tiki Trail? Not just 2?
Yeah.
See what happens when I drink? I forget things. I
He
drink.
doesn't drive. You know.
I drink and I know things and I forget them, apparently, is how that works out. So this is sat for a moment or two. I'm going to take a sip. It is very warm in here.
It is very warm behind the bar with your lighting.
Ah.
Where's your water glass?
My water glass is over here. Right here. I should drink some more water, shouldn't I? You want some?
Try this.
I get the Falernum as an accent there. It comes through.
Yeah,
It
that
tastes-
does nothing for me.
It tastes like a daiquiri made with Falernum to me. I don't think the Benedictine is doing anything for that
Yeah.
cocktail. So I like the corn and oil. Star likes the Hawaiian eye. The Voyager, neither one of us are particularly impressed with.
Meh.
Yeah, so we got 3 different cocktails using Falernum.
Keith says, gotta go, talk later.
Bye, Keith. It seems to me like the Falernum is getting more lost, right? Serving more and more of an accent. Although you say you can taste it straight up as an ingredient in here. It's just that it doesn't blend well or merge well. Okay. Could be that the Plantation 3-Star is the wrong rum for that as well. Because the Plantation 3-Star is a blend of rums, some of which have got some age on them, and there's some Jamaican in there, so there's a little bit of funk that might be taking this in a direction that it wasn't intended. But be that as it may, I have 2 cocktails sitting in front of me, and my dear wife needs another cocktail, and I prepped a 4th cocktail for this evening because I wanted to see how Falernum played in a cocktail that had a few more ingredients thrown into it. So, what are we going to do? We are going to make this a shaken cocktail. So I'm going to reach over here, grab a shaker tin. That doesn't work. Let me do this. Clunk. Right, you work. Yep. Sorry about that. Sorry about that loud noise. That goes here. You would think I'd be done with the sweating after being at Ren Fair yesterday, because, woof, oh my goodness. Thankfully, I was wearing Ren Fair clothes, but largely breathed, so that was okay. All right. So this drink, we're going to start with Falernum. Anybody want to guess how much Falernum is going in this cocktail? How much? You'd guess right. We're going to start with a 1/2 ounce. There was one other cocktail that I was considering that had like 1.5 ounces of rum in it and a full ounce of falernum. I was like, boy, that's a powerful lot of falernum in that cocktail. And it sounded very much like a sit on the beach or the poolside and just have people bring you drinks, and hopefully you didn't have to move very much. So we're not going to do that one. It just didn't sound very interesting to me. It sounded like it would taste mostly of falernum, and I didn't want something like that. So next up, other sweet component. We are going 1/2 ounce of passion fruit syrup. Now, if you take a gander through the cocktails that have falernum in them, you will note something interesting. A large number of them, probably a quarter to a third, pair falernum with passion fruit syrup. Huh. So says me, if so many of those cocktails are going to do this pairing, I should have this pairing on hand for this evening's cocktail. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do 1/2 ounce of passion fruit syrup. There we go. Ta-da! And this is essentially just a simple syrup made with some passion fruit pulp added to it. Oh, by the way, we're going to break out one of the Tiki mugs this evening for this particular cocktail because I want to. Oh, wow. Didn't realize you were seeing my computer this entire time. We don't want that. That can go away. There, that's better. Dun, dun, dun. Next up, another ingredient. Bartenders, unless they are throwing together high volume business and they are just cranking out vodka-based drinks, largely like screwdrivers and that sort of thing, they really don't like orange juice. It's a hard component to work with. Sometimes it can be very flavorful, but add nothing really to the drink. And its acidity is hard to match. It's not as, it doesn't come across as acidic as lime or lemon, so it doesn't really serve a component as your citrus component in your cocktails, so it's not really a sour component, but it's not really a sweet component, so it kind of goes into the weak category of just diluting your drink with a little bit of orange flavor. So most people just, when they're crafting cocktails, they forego the orange juice and get their orange flavor from something like orange curacao. There are a fair number of drinks, though, that require orange juice, and this is one of them. This is the South Pacific Punch. So 1/2 ounce falernum, 1/2 ounce passion fruit syrup, 1 full ounce of orange juice, fresh squeezed, please. This is about probably 4 to 5 ounces of orange juice, and I got that out of 2 oranges. So we're going to go full ounce. There. Right there of orange juice. And I have no problem with squeezing more oranges and getting more orange juice because, well, we'll drink it in the morning. Or we'll drink it tonight, as the case may be. To get the citrus component of this, we need to throw something else in there, and we're going to go back to the well on the lime juice, and we're going to do a full ounce of lime juice here. Wink. Full ounce. Ta-da! What else goes in this? We have 2 ounces of gold Puerto Rican rum go in here. So I'm just going to stay on target, and we are going to use the Flor de Cana like we did for the previous one that required gold rum. 2 ounces of our Flor de Cana right there. And then we're not done. There's a 1/3 ounce of rum in here, and that 1/3 ounce calls for a Jamaican rum with some funk to it, with some character. It says dark or black Jamaican rum. Okay, so we're not going to go that far. We're going to go with Hamilton's Pot Still Gold Rum, which is the same as their black rum except for coloring. Yep, presumably that is in fact true. So we're going to go 1 ounce of their gold rum. That goes in there. That's it. So we got 3 ounces of rum, 2 ounces of citrus, one of which is orange juice, and then we have a full ounce of sweetener split between falernum and passion fruit. Wait, why am I putting this back there? It goes up here. I don't know, that door may have opened because a cat was going into the back room or coming out from the back room. I do not know which, But if they were going into the back room, they're stuck for now. The falernum just keeps getting more and more pronounced in the corn and oil as the ice melts. Yep, it just requires a ton of dilution. I think you can get there faster with shaking that with your crushed ice before pouring it in the glass. But it wouldn't be as pretty a presentation, putting those two ingredients together and swirling. By the way, you did notice on this drink, well, I poured the falernum in and then I poured the Barbados rum in, and it's aged Barbados rum, so it has some darkness to it, and it floated on the top. Yeah, that's, that is a signature visual of a good corn and oil is when that happens. Okay, but we're not making a corn and oil. We're making a South Pacific punch, and that's what's in here. We're going to throw ice cubes in this, and then we are going to shake. Doing this shake, shake, shake.
We have a comment.
We have comments.
Bruce is curious to make a Voyager with Pierre Fernand's dry curacao instead of Benedictine.
Well, I mean, you lose all of the herbal components, but we weren't getting a lot of the herbal components to begin with. Usually when I think of substituting an herbal component, I would be going to, if I was thinking Benedictine, I would be going to green or yellow chartreuse. But then it might be a little overpowering. I don't know. It'd be kind of hard for me to tell without actually doing it. But why not experiment, right? I mean,
yeah,
go for it. I wouldn't use something like Grand Marnier because I think it would come across too sweet. The Benedictine and the chartreuse aren't sweet at all, so that's why they work with that higher level, that full ounce of, well, that half ounce of the falernum there. Green chartreuse works really, really well with limes, so that might be the way to give that a try. I think the first thing on the Voyager is to switch the rum from Plantation 3-Star to something like a Bacardi Superior, something really, really light and column still, rather than the blend that I did, which is the Plantation 3-Star, which shows you that Plantation 3-Star, while an awesome rum, is not always the white rum that you should choose. I have a problem here. Most of my white rums are in fact blends, so it comes a little hard for me sometimes when reaching for a white rum that isn't one of my Cubans to put in a cocktail. I need to stop talking and actually shake this. Okay, so there we go. This is the South Pacific Ranch. Ranch? South Pacific Punch. Okay, most of the letters were right in that word. I don't know what I'm doing this evening in that regard. I'm sorry. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open pour, but then I'm going to do a gated finish on this. So here's an open pour. And then I'm going to gate off the rest of the ice cubes just in case we overflow. Yep, I would have overflowed if I let the rest of the ice through. How do I know to do that? Practice. Yeah, it's just practice. It's an eye, knowing how much is left in that container. All right, so there we have that. I'm going to slap an orange on the side of this, a nice orange wheel. Like such. There we go. I could grab some mint and shove some mint in there, but we're over time. We're almost over time, and that requires me going to the back room, so I'm not going to do that. We are going to stick straw in here. We want to make it fun. So we're going to reach into the bag of tricks from Surfside Sips. You may notice that this is, in fact, one of my many, many Cthulhu mugs. Right? Cthulhu mug. Right here, like that. Yeah. We're just going to stick that in there. And there's Charlie our octopus, or whatever we're going to call him, sticking out of that. And this is a South Pacific punch, not ranch, don't know where that came from, which pairs passion fruit with falernum for the sweetness. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 and taste each one of these. So first of all, we're going to go with a well-diluted corn and oil. Still punchy on both the rum and the falernum. I mean, an old-fashioned is essentially a sweetened up version of just taking a slug of whatever particular rum you like. Next up, the Voyager. See if it's gotten better sitting. Okay, it melds together a little better as it sits. I don't think this is ever going to be one of my my favorite cocktails, though. It lacks a little in the complexity, which you wouldn't think because of the herbal compounds of the Benedictine, but it does. I'm not sure why the Benedictine isn't coming through on this the way it ought to. Yep. Nope. Just not a fan. And last but not least, the South Pacific Punch. What a totally different flavor profile. Oh my gosh. Wow. I wouldn't know how different that was without drinking those two. You're still not a fan.
I like Falernum. I like the Hawaiian Eye. I don't know.
You like good Cuban rum. That's what it is. When it comes to rums, my wife does have good taste. She also has expensive taste in rums. Coincidentally, she also has awful taste in cheap rums.
Yes, I like the extremes.
She likes the extremes when it comes to rum, and I'm much more in the middle ground, middle to high ground. I mean, I certainly appreciate a good fine rum, but I'm much more likely to take it sipping. I think this is a fun drink. I like this drink. I really like passion fruit. That comes through a little. The orange juice is there. I'm not sure I really care for the orange juice in this. It's surprising how much of the drink is taken over by orange juice, which is kind of a milquetoast ingredient. The combination of rums works really well. The Falernum almost seems a little lost to me, so I think we have succeeded in moving down the line of the corn and oil, which is so very Falernum forward, the Hawaiian Eye, where it's still there, but there's other things that are working and blending with it. The Voyager, where the only reason you can taste it is because the drink decomposes, there you go, into its constituent parts. You do get the Falernum flavor on the Voyager, but it just doesn't work well as a harmonious piece, and the Benedictine gets lost. This comes together in a very different singular flavor that you might not expect. I can't really pull the Falernum directly out of it, but this is quite good from my perspective, despite that orangey component to it. Yeah, for being fresh orange juice, it does. It's just there. This is an example of how hard it can be to work with orange juice in a cocktail, especially with other ingredients. I love the rum blend here. That works extremely well, and it is about the right level of sweetness for me. I'm just maybe not a big fan of the orange juice slipped in there, so might have to figure out something else to do with that. Not sure what. I don't really want to up the alcohol content on it by going straight to orange curacao, but maybe that would be good to just to kick this up just a tinge. So by the way, this drink comes to us from the 1950s, from the Bali High on the Beach. That was a restaurant that in the 50s was in fact often visited by Mr. Elvis Presley.
Does the OGA need to go away or just be reduced?
I don't think the orange flavor is the problem. I think the orange juice is the problem. I want an orangey component to it, and I would have thought that the Bitter Truth Falernum with that orangish note would play that up, but it's not. It tastes kind of like diluted orange juice. You know how bad diluted orange juice can be? Yeah, that's what I'm getting through on one of these notes from this cocktail that I don't quite like. Everything else seems to be in balance, but that just seems an off flavor to me. 4 cocktails for you this evening, and I'm only a little over time, so that's not too bad, despite all the times that I've digressed in doing other things. So we're going to call it quits for this week. Thank you very much for tuning in to Lovecraft Cocktails, doing yet another episode of Quarantiki. So stay safe out there. I know friends that have had COVID and have come down with COVID yet again. So please be careful out there, and we'll see you next week when we hit episode number 124 of Quarantiki. I don't know how that's possible, but we got there. So say goodbye, everyone. Say goodnight, Star.
Good night.
Bye.